Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface on the PTR for patch 6.2. A couple of days ago I brought you a video on how to construct the naval yard for your garrison. One thing that we couldn't do though was to show you how to do naval missions. If you missed that video, I'm going to annotate it somewhere on the screen for you. Go click it. Check it out. Now, although naval missions haven't been completed on the PTR, at least we can get an idea of how they're in essence going to work. So let's check it out right now. After you've constructed your very first ship, which is a transport ship, it takes you to Tanaan Jungle, so you can start the major quest line there. You will get another mission to go talk to your shipyard foreman, who just happens to very much be by the command table, and that will become very apparent as well shortly. So if I speak to him, he was going to give me a tutorial on how the naval missions work, but it's not working. But I'm going to have to, sort of work things out for myself here, and it doesn't involve rocket science. So we, again, have another type of command table here. It doesn't look like, very sadly indeed, that we are going to be able to physically interact with our ships. We're going to be able to look at them at the shipyard. We might be able to board some of them on the shipyard, but it doesn't look like we're going to be sailing anywhere. Doesn't look like we're physically going to be on the ship sailing anywhere, getting involved in missions. There is going to be a future video on when we know exactly how this is going to work, what I think naval shipyards should have been. But don't worry about that for now. So we have another command table of sorts here, very much like the command table that we have for followers, but this time it just deals with the ships. So the missions that we have available to us are clearly defined by these gold stars. If I was to scroll over the gold star, we'll see what type of mission we have. So there's only one showing, and it's a training exercise. This, of course, would have been the tutorial mission. Let's see how that ship handles out in the open sea. See if you can take out this captured ship. One boat mission, 30-minute time, and also 100 experience reward. There's also a sort of things like the prerequisite of the mission. There's something, some sort of factor to consider here. So if I was to click onto this now, we'll see exactly what we have. So it starts off with a base percentage chance of 50. I'll get 100 experience reward for completing it, if I was to complete it, and a baseline of 500. So complete it, not complete it, I'll get 500 experience points. But not necessarily. The reason why I say not necessarily is there is a severe condition to this mission, which you can see in the top left here, and it's this big red skull that says dangerous mission. If I scroll over there, it's boat safety. If you fail this mission, each boat has a 50% chance to be permanently destroyed. So your ships, unlike your followers, who will always come back intact in one piece, your ships can physically be destroyed, and you will have to construct another one. And I've actually gone out and done that, because your ships are unique. So I went out and constructed another ship. I can't use this one at all, because I've already got a transport ship available to me. So if that ship was to be destroyed, I'd have the backup here. I could right click it, and then I would have another transport ship. So your ships can be defeated. If I were to drag my ship down here, it only goes up by 6% currently. I mean, all this is subject to change. So currently I've got a 56% chance of completing this mission with my transport vessel, which is a rare. It's a blue. I managed to proc it as a rare. The ships still have the same factors as followers do. They can be uncommon, rare, and epic. But I can't send this mission on its way because there is now a new resource which is going to come into effect, which looks like an oil barrel. That's what it looks like at the moment, and that's going to be the resource for sending them out on missions. How we're going to get these resources, we do not know yet. They've not been implemented in the PTR for 6.2 as yet. But once I had 5 of them, I would then, as before, click the start mission and off it would go. So this was what the prerequisite was. It was ironclad. Again, there's no information on this ironclad, so we don't know what that really means. That seems to be a requisite of the Horde ship. So ironclad could mean that it takes reduced damage. Ironclad could be that it reduces your success chance on the mission. we've yet to determine that. So let's now have a look at the fleet tab. So this is what's going to be, in essence, your follower tab for your shipyard. And listed here will be the various vessels which you've constructed. I've only got the one vessel, which is the transport ship. But you'll notice that you can add various elements to it. So it starts off by being a boarding party. That's one of the abilities that it has, which allows you to get boots on ground if you have a mission which involves going off to an island, exploring the island, maybe doing some gathering, maybe doing some killing, and then coming back to the garrison. It will counteract ground objectives if that is one of the prerequisites of the mission. So again, it's very much like the command table for followers. If there's a prerequisite, you can counter it by having the various one. And also my crew is a Blood Elf crew for this. Very interesting, considering I'm Alliance for a start. But okay, we don't need to quibble about that as yet. Again, it's a work in progress. And the Blood Elf crew will improve vision. So if I've got dark skies or stormy skies or whatever, they can see through it with their beautiful green eyes. And that will counter stormy weather. So that's another prerequisite of the mission. And then we've got over here 2 equipment slots. One of them that's opened up. I think this first one is opened up because it's a rare. If it was uncommon, I think both of them would be locked off. And then the second one, which is a purple lock, you can see unlocks when your boat receives epic status. So if I just flip the footage now to the actual shipyard itself, there is a equipment specialist that will sell you some various equipments that you can attach to your ship. There's only 3 showing at the moment, which isn't a lot of choice, and they are very expensive indeed, clocking in at 2,000 garrison resources a pop. Now, we don't know whether or not Blizzard are going to change the resource for these to be the same one that you required to send your vessels out on missions, the one that had the oil barrel icon, or whether or not they keep it as is. If they do keep it as it is, there's a massive risk and reward situation here. Number one, it costs 6,000 garrison resources to currently build your shipyard. 5,000 for the shipyard itself, and 1,000 to construct a vessel. You've then got an equipment slot, which I've got available. So if I spend another 2,000 garrison resources to purchase one, that's an outlay of 8,000 garrison resources, bearing in mind garrison resources has a current cap of 10,000, and they are relatively difficult to get a hold of. You can't just flood yourself with garrison resources. It does take a substantial amount of time, days, weeks, for a decent number of garrison resources to develop. So we've got to take that into consideration too. I then send that ship out with its 56% chance of completion on a dangerous mission, and it gets destroyed. I feel myself as if I've just wasted 3,000 garrison resources, and it's going to be very intriguing to see how the community deals with that. Will people just go, screw this, I'm not, grinding for garrison resources to have a high chance, or a relatively high chance, of my ship permanently being destroyed and having to start from scratch again. So, the risk and reward situation could be a bit mute, because people might just decide, well, I'm not sending a ship out unless it's got a 100% chance of success when it's got this criteria showing, this dangerous mission criteria showing. I quite like the idea of a permanently destroyed ship, but if that is the case, then I think the outlay of cost has got to be significantly reduced. I'm not grinding 1 week's worth of garrison resources to buy a ship and attach a piece of equipment to it to have it immediately destroyed 30 minutes later. No thank you, not my idea of a lot of fun. And also, because there isn't a lot of choice here, I would imagine, considering the epic ship does have 2 equipment slots, there will be more things added to this vendor, as well as potentially mission rewards could also bring back various pieces of equipment which might be used to upgrade your vessels. Right, so let's now return to the command table for your fleet. Let's look at the top now, because at the top we can see the various criteria of missions. We have artillery cannons, we have evasive maneuvers, we have first strike capability, counter flying units, ground objectives, that's the one that I've currently got, ironclad, We have Mine Layer, and then Submerged. I imagine that's for the submarines, obviously. And then we have Can Counter Swift. So maybe vessels which are trying to outrun us will be able to, in some way, counter that way. So there are the various elements very much like the follower missions. So, to kind of end this video now, one thing that they've got to get right, in my view, to make naval yards and shipyards anything of worth whatsoever, is to separate it from your current follower missions. At the minute, it's sounding very, very samey indeed. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm barely doing the follower missions at the moment. I'm only logging in once every 2 weeks to send it off to do the Mythic Blackrock mission, and that's about it. Maybe do a little bit of gold farming with the treasure hunter trait, or do some garrison resources. But as regards to just building up more and more followers, I've gone way beyond that. Sending them out, doing archaeology fragments, I don't find that particularly rewarding. Doing low-level blue items, I don't find that particularly rewarding. So they've got to get a really good reward structure that makes this feel different from your follower missions, and also worthwhile to actually participate in. And I think that's something that they're going to struggle to do, because unless your character can physically get involved in the shipyard, then in essence this is just another command table, looks a bit prettier, and you can build some ships, but isn't anything different from what we've had with the command table with the followers. So it will be very interesting to see what you guys think in the comments down below about your first impressions of Naval Missions, and also a few ideas yourself how you think that this could really work as a piece of content in patch 6.2. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media as well as Twitch for live streaming. Those links are in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.